I get it. She's tiny. She's so small that a piece of broccoli looks like a tree. And when he holds up a tree, it looks like a broccoli. I understand, okay? What is his storyline in this? There's no storyline in this. Nothing happens until the end. Hey y'all, it's Lauren. Today we are doing a reading wrap up for July. I read 13 books. 12 of them were physical and one was on the Kindle. Okay, so we are going to go from my favorites to my least favorites read this month. So let's get right into it. The first book is Charlotte's Web. I'm not counting this towards anything. I read this as a childhood reread. I really liked it. It held up, in my opinion, to when I was a child. And makes me tear up every time I think about it. I really enjoyed it. My highest rated book this month was Mislaid in Parts Half Unknown by Shauna Maguire. In this book, you follow Ancy, and she has a knack for finding things that are missing. So some of the students take it upon themselves to ask or make her try to find their door. In doing so, you follow a series of events where Ancy and some of her classmates go through another person's door and now need to get home. I really enjoyed this book. I liked seeing all the different worlds and going back to her original storyline. I gave this 5 stars. The next book I read this month is The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating by Elizabeth Tova Bailey. This book was so good. The cover is what drew me to it. I'm so happy I picked it. You follow this woman that is bedbound from an illness, and her friend decided to bring her a plant, and in the plant had a snail. And throughout her journey of getting healthier, you follow her just watching the snail live its life, and she finds meaning in her life from watching the snail live his. The way she writes in this book and talks about her illness and how she uses the snail as a friend of sorts, and just seeing her life in another perspective of a snail it was so good. And I rated this 5 stars. The next book I read was Lost in the Moment and Found by Shauna Maguire. This follows Ancy and her storyline of when she finds her door, and she lives in a shop where lost things go. So anytime something is lost, it comes here and people can find it. In this room is a bunch of doors, and every time she opens a door, she is transported into another world that we see in other places. Like, she can go to a traveling shop in one of the worlds, or underwater, or to the Stone Age. And she helps out the shop's owners, grabs stuff for them to eat or to have at their shop. Then she finds out that everything's not as it seems. It was so good. I believe I rated it 5 stars. In the series, you need to read it. The next book on this list is Haunting Adeline. I give this book 4 stars. I did a whole reading vlog on the 3 dark romances of this a month, so I'll give you like a quick overview. You follow Adeline, and she is being stalked by this man Zaid. You follow her storyline where she finds her great-grandmother's journal, and she is trying to figure out who killed her, because she knows that her great-grandma also had a stalker through the journals. And then you follow Zaid, and he is trying to dismantle and get rid of people that do trafficking. And you follow their romance, if you will. I actually enjoyed the book. I didn't enjoy the romance of the book as much. I enjoyed the plot of the book. I thought it was more of a thriller, if anything. And that's how I think of it. I don't really think of it as a romance now that I have some time to think about it. The reason why I think I liked it so much is because it's written like a thriller, and I'm just like enthralled in that journey, not so much of are they going to get together or not, just like what happens. The next book I rated was Where the Drowned Girls Go by Shauna Maguire. In this book, you follow Cora, and she decides to leave Eleanor West School, and she goes to a different school where they are super strict on their students and making sure that they don't think about, remember, or do anything that can make a door reappear for these children. While she is there, the students of Eleanor West School decide that they need to save her and her fellow classmates from that school. And so what do they do other than break in and try to infiltrate it and get Cora back? I really enjoyed this. It was fun. I liked it. It wasn't the best one, in my opinion, than the other. It will clearly not as good as the other two, but I very much liked it and seeing their friendships grow as well. All right, the next book is The Ritual by Chantal Tesser. This one you follow a man and he is in a secret society in school called the Lords, and every time they graduate, if you will, from the Lords, they are given a woman, and this woman is to do everything that they say. He is given Blakely's name and he has to choose her and she accepts to be his. And then you follow her ex-fiance's Matt trying to do whatever it takes to get her back. This book was good. I gave it 4 stars. There was nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's a dark romance. In its core, that's all it is. Okay, the next book I read is A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley. And you follow Cordelia and her best friend you find in the first book is dating a demon, and his boss, if you will, Troth, tried to take her best friend's soul. So cut to this book, and Cordelia is on a run and she comes across a demon, Azeroth, that does not remember his memory. And he is being beaten up by another demon and she stops it. But in doing so, now that demon is after her and Azeroth and trying to ruin them, so Azeroth can never come to the demon plane again. They go on a quest to figure out who Azeroth is, how he became to be, his backstory, and how to take down Moloch. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not really sure, but we're just going to call him another demon in the plane. And I really enjoyed it. It was a fun read. I will be picking up the third one. I believe there's a third. Oh, actually, I don't know if there's a third one, but if there is, I will be picking it up. All right. The next dark romance I read was God of Malice by Arena Kent. This book is something else. I liked it, I guess, at the end. It was a good read. It was a dark romance. This is an actual dark romance. It does have sexual assault in there. And I just read the trigger warnings. There's more in there. I know for a fact. Actually, in all these, there's trigger warnings, so just know that. In this book, you follow... Okay, in this book, you follow Glendon. Glendon is trying to figure out what happened to her best friend that ended up killing himself earlier this past year. And then while she is standing on the cliff, she almost falls, and Killian grabs her. She agrees to do whatever in return for her safety. So he says yes, and then proceeds to have her go down and sexually assault her. So from there, you realize that Killian is her stalker, and they go to opposing schools. One's good, one's bad. He goes to the bad boy school, of course. Then you find out that her best friend Devlin used to be in the same secret society that Killian is a part of, and so she wants to learn more about it to figure out what happened, and she starts being with Killian. The book was okay. It's not my favorite. It was a dark romance. People really like it. So if you do like dark romance, I would definitely give this a chance. I just don't think it was for me. Yeah, 3 stars. The next book is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. This book, the title says it all. It's the time she got drunk and saved a demon. She is coming home from a party and a demon attacks her, and she gets away. And then the next day he is at her doorstep and wants her to come with him to destroy these chalices that are on her or in her world, so him and the demon plane can be released from her reign, because we find out that everything is not as it seems with them. So it's another quest that they go on. It's a good time. It's there's some smut in here. I chuckled a couple times. It's just like a really fun read. I gave it 3 stars. Okay, so the next 2 books I have rants about. The first book is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This book ultimately is good. It is about 2 coworkers that do not like each other, and they're going up for the same position. While they were doing this, they start to learn things about each other and start to have feelings for each other. They don't really hate each other. There's just a bunch of, not even miscommunication. It's just like it's a love-hate relationship, honestly. The problem I have about this book is I don't mind tropes. I don't mind tropes at all. Okay? If I had to hear one more time about how small and tiny this woman is and how big and strong and huge this man is, I would going to scream. Okay? I get it. She's tiny. She's so small that a piece of broccoli looks like a tree. And when he holds up a tree, it looks like a broccoli. I understand, okay? And that's the reason why I'm annoyed at this book, because they just overuse that trope so much. And it just like, maybe once I just like heard it, I just like kept hearing it and I couldn't stop. Maybe if you just like don't think about it, you wouldn't find it, but I just couldn't stop after the first like 2 or 3 times I heard it, and I was like, okay, here we go. The next book I read is Satan's Affair by H.D. Carlson, and this was a prequel to Haunting Adeline. You follow Sibby, and she is crazy. She lives in a traveling Halloween fair, and she stays like haunted dollhouse. Or that doesn't make sense. This haunted house, that's the theme of a doll. This haunted, she lives in a haunted dollhouse in the walls. And every time the people come through to be scared, she smells these people, and she calls them demons when they smell bad. They just smell rotten, and that's how she knows they're bad, and she kills them in the walls. And she has henchmen that help her out. And you follow her storyline until the end, pretty much. I gave it 3 stars, I want to say. It was a fun time. It was that was it. It was a fun time. She's crazy. There was a lot of sex. Like a lot of sex. This was just a smut book. I didn't know that. I thought it was going to be like a scary whatever. This was almost like 90% smut, 10% plot. But like the plot was good. Like there was like a plot twist at the end, if you will, and it was good. I liked the book. No complaints on it. And so last but not least, I read Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I rated this 2.5 stars, I want to say, 3 stars. I'm just not a fan of her writing, first of all. It's kind of bad. A whole lot of nothing goes on in this book. You follow Harry, and he is trying out, what is his storyline? There's no storyline in this. Nothing happens until the end, or I guess you follow Harry and the students of the school, and they have a bad teacher, Professor Umbridge, that comes to school, and so they decide to start the Order of the Phoenix to help them get good grades and learn how to protect themselves in the dark arts. So they create a secret club, and that's that. And at the end, he has to go and save his godfather because he is in trouble. Nothing happens in this book. Hermione is the only one that actually is sane. You don't see Ron at all. He's just a side character at these points. I think after the last book, Ron becomes a background character like Hermione was before, and now Hermione is becoming a front-run character because she is going to be the only one that can get Harry to defeat Voldemort. Now, you have Dumbledore does not do anything in this book. McGonagall does not do anything in this book. Umbridge is a bitch, and she is torturing kids in this book. You follow Harry that just does not care, is always getting in trouble, and you follow Hermione that has actually her head on her shoulders. And then you also have Sirius Black, and I'm sorry, but he is not a good character. He is not a good role model. He is always trying to get out, which I understand, fine, but to make Harry feel like he's not like his dad, which everyone knows that he wants to be like his father, and he loves his parents so much, to say to a child, oh, you're not like James, or oh, James wouldn't just like be held back from this, is insane to me, because a known killer that already tried to kill him once and came back from the dead is after him, and you're saying this about like things that could actually get him in trouble and get him killed, is insane. J.K. Rowling should have done a better job of writing characters, writing adults, and having character growth in these books, because there is none. She does not know what character growth is. And I'm so annoyed with reading again and again and again all these characters never growing up. I hope in the next book something else happens and we actually follow a book that had something to do with something. I read, how many pages is this book? This book is 800 pages. This book could easily be 400 pages and call it good. The fact that it was 800 pages of nothing is an insult to all of us. And those are the books that I read this month. If you have any, or if you stay to the end of this video, leave a overwhelming theme of these books. I feel like a lot of fantasy books. What's a fantasy like emoji? Leave a little wizard emoji, I guess, if you stay to the end of this video. Thank you guys for being here and watching, and I will see you in the next video, which is going to be my August TBR. All right, thanks. Bye, guys.